Good evening, everybody. I now call to order the April 9th meeting of Lancaster City Council. A couple of reminders for everyone at the top of the meeting this evening. This is an excellent opportunity now to silence your phones or devices if you haven't done so already. This meeting and its participants are being recorded. This evening, there will be several opportunities for public comment. If you wish to make comment, please do so here at the podium in front of us, and please speak into the microphone so that you can be heard both in the room and on the live stream. Comments must begin with your name and your block of residence for the meeting minutes. Comments should be addressed toward council and are limited to 3 minutes per speaker. They should address issues that have or may come before council as legislation. To keep time, you're going to see this light right here turn green when the speaker begins. It will turn yellow when there's 1 minute remaining, and it will turn red when 3 minutes has been exhausted. Thank you in advance for allowing everyone equal time. And now, for all that are willing and able, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Harris, would you please call the roll of members?
Yes, Madam President. Mr. Med.
Here.
Mr. Arroyo.
Here.
Mr. Cleese.
Here.
Ms. Craig.
Here.
Ms. Diaz.
Here.
Mr. Hirsch.
Here.
And President Baker.
Here. Next item is the approval of the minutes for the March 26, 2024 meeting of council.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the meeting minutes. Any council comments on the minutes? Hearing none, Mr. Harris.
Mr. Med.
Aye.
Mr. Arroyo.
Aye.
Mr. Cleese.
Aye.
Ms. Craig.
Aye.
Ms. Diaz.
Aye.
Mr. Hirsch.
Aye.
And President Baker.
Aye. Our next items are proclamations, honors, awards, and resolutions of recognition. I believe we have one this evening. Resolution number 30. Mr. Harris.
A resolution of the Council of the City of Lancaster designated April 2024 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month in the City of Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Thank you. It was my honor to again introduce this resolution for 2024. I would like to thank the Lancaster YWCA for helping us in drafting this resolution. The center is the designated rape crisis center for Lancaster County, and the work that they do in our community is absolutely invaluable. This evening, we have representatives from the center. Andrea is here, who is the lead clinician at the center, and I'd like to invite her now to come up and speak on behalf of the resolution. When you arrive at the podium, if the light isn't green on the microphone, just hit the button for me. Done. Got it. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Of course, thank you for the invitation. My name is Andrea Smith. I'm lead clinician at YWCA Lancaster's Sexual Assault Prevention and Counseling Center, and also a resident of the 600 block of Poplar Street. I'm pleased to be here. The impact of sexual assault is pervasive and widespread, with little regard to person or privilege, but plenty of impact on vulnerable populations in our community. However, in our work, we have a front row seat to see that survivors, the ones who love them, and our community are resilient. We're grateful for the efforts of City Council to use this proclamation to raise awareness about the impact of sexual assault, and for the many community partners who work every day alongside our team at the Sexual Assault Prevention and Counseling Center to raise awareness to prevent sexual assault, to offer counseling and therapy, to support survivors in their journey, and to advocate within the justice and medical systems for justice for survivors. We want to thank the District Attorney's Human Trafficking Task Force, on which we have a seat, for their work in serving survivors. We want to thank LGH and other hospitals across the rest of the county whose sexual assault nurse examiners work constantly to be able to provide services, excellent services, to survivors in emergency room. We want to thank our other partners across industries and sectors who believe survivors, hear their voices, and seek to build a stronger community in Lancaster City and across the county. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for being here. And I wanted to highlight that the YWCA looks like they have several events during the month of April to highlight Sexual Assault Awareness Month. One I found particularly interesting was a clothing and comfort drive that's going on all month long. They're accepting donations, monetary, and also donations of new clothing or comfort items throughout the month to support victims, survivors of sexual abuse receiving medical care at local hospitals. So I want to take a moment to highlight that. Thank you again for being here. Are there any other council comments on the resolution? From the public? Hearing none, Mr. Harris.
Mr. Madden.
Aye.
Mr. Roy.
Aye.
Mr. Cleese.
Aye.
Ms. Gregg.
Aye.
Ms. Diaz.
Aye.
Mr. Hirsch.
Aye.
President Bacon.
Aye. Thank you, everyone. I do have a presentation copy of this resolution for you, and if it would be all right, any councilors wishing to join us and Mayor Sarachi for a photo, I think we'll do so on that end of the floor, if you just give us just a moment to do that.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
Mr. Harris, are there any additional honors or awards this evening?
There are none, Madam President.
Thank you. This now takes us to our first public comment period. This is reserved for residents who have contacted the city clerk prior to the meeting to request the opportunity to address council. Again, as a reminder, comments are limited to 3 minutes. And please begin with your name and block of residence for the meeting minutes. Mr. Harris, do we have any comments this evening?
Yes, we do. First is Amy Ernst.
Hi. You should have received, I sent Mr. Harris a copy of a petition. Great. I'm seeing some head nods. So my name's Amy Ernst. I live on the 800 block of Columbia Avenue. I'm also a homeowner at 607 Marietta Avenue, and I'm speaking on behalf of 17 different residents on Marietta, Grant, and King. We started a petition because 27 of us received notice from the city about a violation to repair the alley behind some of these properties and an impending fine in 2 weeks. It suggested we use backfill or cold patch in those 2 weeks in order to avoid the fine. We agree this is a major safety issue. However, the notice refers to this roadway as a back alley, and we believe it to be a public roadway. At least 4 properties on the list have front door access only through that street, which I will refer to as West Grant Street because their addresses are West Grant Street. Like I said, they have addresses on West Grant Street. The base failures in the asphalt are extreme and they pose a safety hazard, especially since emergency vehicles can only access these properties through this roadway. Postal trucks and other delivery trucks also already use the roadway to access these properties, which do not have any other access. Should an ambulance or fire truck need to access one of these properties, they would not reasonably be able to reverse and back out without using the full length of the roadway. We're petitioning to have the city properly maintain this as a public roadway, not a collaboratively owned back alley, due to the current use of it as a public roadway and the safety issues involved with street repair. It's not reasonable to expect private residents to fix such extensive base failures in the road using backfill and cold patch. Exhibit 4 of the petition that I gave you has various photographs of the alleyway and the extent of the base failures in the asphalt. Exhibit 3 is a digital map indicating both the length of the roadway and circling the homes that have front-facing access on the roadway. And Exhibit 2 is a few photos of those properties. So like I said, it's unreasonable to have private citizens safely and reasonably maintain a roadway that's used as public access to several homes. So we're petitioning that the city treat it as West Grant Street, which their addresses are currently, and are responsible for repairing it. Thank you.
Ms. Hirsch, thank you very much. And I will, the council has received your petition and the exhibits attached, and I will follow up with any additional information.
Thank you. And just quickly, we have 17 out of 27 signatures in 2 days.
Thank you so much. Mr. Harris, were there further public comments for this period?
Yes, next is John Gavea.
Thank you. I don't see Mr. Gouveia here now, so I will call on him at our second public comment period if he is in the room. Were there further comments? Sorry. Were there further comments besides Mr. Gouveia?
No, we're not further.
Okay. Thank you. Just wanted to be sure. Thank you very much. This takes us to reports requested by council, our next item on the agenda. We do have one. It's an adopted program update. I believe that will be given by Director Stephen Campbell. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
He's getting up, so I think that's a yes. Good evening, Director Campbell.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to give you just kind of a bit of an update of what's going on with the adopted program, the program that you might otherwise have known in the past as the Adopt a Block program. Next slide. The person who ordinarily would be making this presentation is indisposed, so I'm making the presentation so that I stay on schedule with you guys. So the Adopted program is a volunteer-based program for cleaning up our community. Anyone can participate in it, families, businesses, others, churches, etc. A quick visit to newly created adopted website will provide adoption seekers a map of the currently adopted locations, information, cleanup tips, policies and procedures, and an application for adopted. Once the applications are filled out, the location is available and the adoptee is provided, they can start cleaning up their blocks immediately. Next, the Adopted program is paid for by the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation's Keep Pennsylvania Beautiful program. We underwent a rebranding of the existing program because when Gabrielle Diacau took it over, she recognized that there were a lot of Adopt a Block organizations that were not active, that were not necessarily doing the work that warranted spending those kinds of resources, whether at the state level or not. What she did was she cleaned up the list, went to and addressed each of the Adopt a Block organizations, clarified to them what their needs and responsibilities were, and if they were willing to step up and meet those responsibilities, they were re-signed up, if you will. It did mean losing a number of the previously listed Adopt a Block organizations. They were either not willing to go forward, the leaderships had changed, the communities had changed, but we now have 124 plus very, very active Adopt a Block organizations. In order to recognize that, we did a rebranding. So there's the program had never had a logo, and now that the program has a logo, it will grab the attention and make a strong first impression to the program and foster loyalty and camaraderie, hopefully, with program constituents. And you can see that there is the new logo. Next. The new signage allows that the old Adopt a Block signs are gradually being replaced with the new adopted logo, and those updated signage have QR codes so that people, when they are involved in a cleanup event, can register their participation online for the official adopted organization. Volunteers can fill out their after-event summary in real time, and those who choose so can fill it out later at a different time. But all of we've stepped into the 21st century, if you will, and have the QR codes as a major means of communication. One of the things that's important of recording the participation is that we get reimbursed from PennDOT for the participation and for the volume and the tonnage of trash that is picked up. Next slide. The new website was created as a place for anyone to seek information about the program, and it has an up-to-date map where the active adopted organizations are present. The easiest way to reach it is on adopt-it-lancaster-1-lancaster-pa.hub ArcGIS. And I'm sure that this will be part of the minutes of the meeting so that people can reach out at any time. But it's a relatively easy, user-friendly website. It may look a little bit dark on this particular stretch, but it's a very pleasant website to be on. Next. As I had mentioned, with the updating of Adopt It, which we were hoping can be a precursor to a variety of other volunteer opportunities, there were new requirements added or the reinforcement of existing requirements, such as a minimum of 4 cleanups to be reported annually to keep the block adoption status, and required after-event summary to be filled out after every cleanup so that we had documentation of what work was done, which blocks and communities were affected, etc. New supplies are available for the cleanup sessions, including first aid kits, safety glasses, trash pickers, which are extending trash implements. But the program has always had gloves and trash recycling bags, which we will continue to provide. Next. Gloves and trash bags are donated by the PA Department of Transportation, Keep Pennsylvania Beautiful. 5 trash pickers, for each of the organizations, 5 trash pickers, 20 highly visible vests, safety glasses, and 4 first aid kits are purchased. And as time goes by, additional locations and items will be integrated with the system. And as the program grows, areas of need can be addressed and grants can always be applied for additional program needs. So we also look at the adopted program as an opportunity to look at adopting bins, adopting compost bins, adopting stormwater grates, etc. So these are opportunities that we are looking to expand in terms of the volunteer aspect. Next. Since May of last year, we've culled ourselves down to, if you will, 124 active groups. I think that number continues to increase now that the weather is getting warmer. But since May of 2023, we've registered 577 volunteers, 42 bags of trash were taken off the streets, 819 hours of volunteer time was logged, and 5 bags average of recycling collected per site. So we see this as a very successful program that encourages people to get involved in their communities and the pride of their communities. Next. The future holds that more engagement with volunteers. We're looking at this as an entry opportunity for volunteerism with the city. We want to change out the old signage for the new updated signs, get our users familiar with logging their cleanups electronically as well as routinely. And once the program is up and running more smoothly, we will allow time to work out a variety of kinks, including opportunities for additional locations and volunteer opportunities. I think that's the last slide. Thank you very much. If there's any questions, I'm very happy to entertain them.
Thank you very much, Dr. Campbell. I do have a question. You mentioned the possibility of adopting other things like bins and storm grates. Are the volunteer organizations that are adopting blocks right now, are they given instruction or education around also clearing storm grates while they're out there?
That's a very, very good question. For the most part, as a casual part of what their training is, yes, they get that. But we're not necessarily expecting, I would love for people to more actively participate when we have a threat of severe weather, et cetera, for people to be aware, especially in the adopted block organizations, to say, I need to make sure that my storm grates are clear. Keeping the storm grates clear is an incredible, important part of not only meeting our stormwater management goals and our 9 minimum controls, which is related to stormwater management throughout the city, but making sure that we don't add too much stress to our combined sewer outflow system. However, it's just one of the many aspects of the general training that goes on in the adopted block. We do, on occasion, when we recognize that there are severe storms coming down the pike, do send out either a request to the adopted organizations as well as other not-for-profit organizations to please be aware of the storm grates, among other things, as necessary.
Thank you. I'm sure we're all acutely aware of that after all of the rain we had last week.
Yes, I'm sure we are.
Thank you. Any other council questions for Director Campbell? No? All right. Thank you very much for being here this evening to provide that update.
Very good. Thank you very much.
All right, the next item on our agenda this evening is reports of committees of council. These were the meetings held on April 1st, 2024. We'll begin with public safety. Councilor Diaz.
The Safety Committee did not meet.
Thank you very much. Public Works Committee, Councilor Hirsch.
Thank you, Council President. The Public Works Committee did meet. We had one item on our agenda that appears on our agenda later this evening, Resolution 29, 2024, authorizing grant application for Joe Jackson tot lot improvements. Additionally, Public Works staff updated the committee to inform them that the city is no longer pursuing the creation of a pocket park at 339 Beaver Street and is instead going to prioritize the funds associated with this project to maintenance of existing parks, primarily in the southeast area of the city, including Joe Jackson tot lot, Yule Gantz Park, South End Park, and Reservoir Park. Council is not required to take any action related to this, and that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Councilor Hirsch. Economic Development Committee, Councilor Madden.
Thank you, Council President. The Economic Development Committee did not meet.
Thank you. Community Planning Committee, Councilor Craig.
Thank you, Council President. Community Planning did meet. We had several reviews of the Historical Commission, which will come up on our agenda later on this evening, and also 2 resolutions, 28 and 31, amending the sewer control plan, which will also be on the legislative agenda in a little bit.
Thank you very much, Councilor Craig. Went a little bit out of order. I apologize. Finance Committee, Councilor Arroyo.
Thank you, Council President. The Finance Committee did not meet during the last session.
Thank you. And Personnel Committee, Councilor Cleese.
Thank you, Madam President. The Personnel Committee did meet on April 9th and reviewed nominations for appointment to the Board of Health and Downtown Investment District Authority. The committee also reviewed Administration Bill number 5 of 2024, which would combine the Human Relations Commission and the Human Relations Commission Advisory Council. That bill is on the agenda for the first reading this evening. I will also take a moment to share an update about some projects and initiatives of the Department of Neighborhood Engagement. The engagement needs a survey conducted by the department with the City of Lancaster leadership closed March 25th with 2,946 digital responses, and the department is in the process of analyzing the responses gathered. And next, it will be holding community validation sessions to verify that the findings of the survey align with the voice of the community. the City of Lancaster Office of Promotion, LOOP, has unveiled the lineup of annual events for the coming year, promising a summer filled with celebration, culture, and community engagement. This year, Celebrate Lancaster will take place on August 16th, and by moving the event to August, the city is making space for other significant celebrations in June, like Pride Month and Juneteenth. New Year's Eve festivities will return this year after a brief hiatus. The city will also partner with the Lancaster County Community Foundation on Summer for Lancaster programming. Throughout the summer, Beans Park and Ewell Plaza will be transformed into vibrant hubs of activity featuring temporary art installations, interactive spaces, and community engagement opportunities. The city and the community foundation have joined forces with the Steinman Institute for Civic Engagement, Atomic, and Tate to deliver a fresh, collaborative approach to a summer celebration for Lancaster. And the city of Lancaster is proud to partner with community groups and community organizations across the city to present Mayor's Neighborhood Month, from block parties to treasure the traditions like open streets. This May, the city of Lancaster will come alive with celebrations of our residents and the neighborhoods they call home. That concludes the personal committee.
Councilor Cleese, thank you so much for providing that update from neighborhood engagement. And I'm looking forward to the block parties this summer. They're always a good time. We'll now move into our legislative agenda this evening. We'll begin with nominations for appointment. Councilor Cleese.
Now I'll make a motion to appoint Louise Skewers to the Board of Health for a term from March 31st, 2024 to March 31st, 2029. And Marcy Natel to the Downtown Investment District Authority for a term from April 9th, 2024 to December 31st, 2029.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for our nominations this evening. Any council comments, additional council comments on those nominations? From the public? Hearing none, Mr. Harris.
Mr. Met?
Aye.
Mr. Roy?
Aye.
Mr. Cleese?
Aye.
Ms. Craig?
Aye.
Ms. Diaz?
Aye.
Mr. Hirsch?
Aye.
President Baker?
Aye. Thank you. Our next item on our legislative agenda this evening are Heritage Conservation and Historic District items. Councilor Craig's indicated that these may be taken all together this evening. Mr. Harris.
Yes, Mr. President. Considering the following recommendations, applications and recommendations from the Historical Commission and Historical Architectural Review Board for improvements to properties within the Heritage Conservation and Historic Districts. The first is B&K Real Estate, Burmar Real Estate LLC, owner of 11 and 13 North Ann Street, and Peaceful Homes Property Management applicant proposes demolition of a shared wooden entry porch on paired residential structures. That's after the fact. Second is B&K Real Estate, Burmar Real Estate LLC, owner of 11 and 13 North Ann Street, and Peaceful Homes Property Management applicant proposes reconstruction of a shared wooden entry porch with a new roof. Next is Thaddeus Stevens Foundation, owner of 419 and 429 Hillside Avenue, proposes demolition of a modern cement block garage. And Thaddeus Stevens Foundation, owner of 419 and 429 Hillside Avenue, proposes construction of a new two-story residential duplex. And John Lang and Giovanni Diaz, owners of 617 Fremont Street, propose construction of a two-story, three-unit residential building on a vacant parcel. And all of those applications were recommended for approval by the Historical Commission. Next is New School Montessori, owner of 24 North Lime Street, requests installation of a new commercial signage, and Patrick and Jacqueline Benz, owners of 440 West Walnut Street, request installation of new dormers on the house's front and rear roofs. And those two applications are recommended for approval by the Historical Architectural Review Board.
Thank you, Mr. Harris.
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval of all of the items. Are there any council comments on those items?
Council President, if I may.
Councilor
I
Ahmed.
just have a quick question. I see the gentleman from Peaceful Homes here. Just had a question about the accessibility for the residents who live at this property. Are they still going to be able to get in and out the front of the home while this construction is going on? And if not, how long is the construction going to impede them to having accessibility to the building?
Yes, please. Good evening. Thank you for being here.
Yep. Do you want my name and all of that too?
Name and block.
Yep. My name's Austin Mountain. I'm with Peaceful Homes Property Management, 425 North Prince Street here in Lancaster. We will likely have to put a steel beam or iron beam in there. During that time, the residents will be put up in a hotel. Should only take a couple days. We're going to try to work with the engineer and the construction company to try to do it in as quickly as possible. So we're working at a week or two. I don't have a definite, we're still trying to iron out the exact best way to do it. When the porch roof was removed, there were some more issues found that were covered up from the porch roof. So there's a little bit extra that we're doing to make sure that everything is safe and secure.
Thank you. That answers my question. I just wanted to make sure that if it wasn't accessible, I'm happy to see that they're being.
Yeah, we'll take care of them.
Somewhere. Okay, thank you. That concludes my questions, Council President.
Thank you, Councilor Ahmed. Any additional council comments on the items? Comments from the public? Hearing none, Mr. Harris.
Mr. Ahmed.
Aye.
Mr. Roy.
Aye.
Mr. Cleese.
Aye.
Ms. Crater.
Aye.
Ms. Diaz.
Aye.
Mr. Hirsch.
Aye.
President Bacon.
Aye. Excuse me. Next items on the agenda are our ordinance for first reading. That's Administration Bill Number 5, 2024. Mr. Harris.
An ordinance of the Lancaster City Council amending the Code of the City of Lancaster, Chapter 125, Discrimination, to combine the Human Relations Commission and the Human Relations Commission Advisory Council, providing for the repeal of inconsistent ordinances, providing for the severability of the ordinance, and providing that the ordinance shall take effect in accordance with Pennsylvania law.
Thank you very much, Mr. Harris. Councilor Cleese.
Thank you, Madam President. So, this bill was reviewed by the Personnel Committee and the Council on the last committee meeting last Monday. As we previously said, it is to amend Chapter 125 of the Code of the City of Lancaster to combine two entities, the Human Relations Commission and the Human Relations Commission Advisory Council. And the bill outlines the policies for the organization of the Human Relations Commission and its duties in administering and implementing and enforcing the provisions of this chapter. We are proceeding tonight to our first reading of the bill, and we are not going to vote on it for tonight, but upon the enactment of the bill, all members of the Human Relations Commission shall remain the same, and all members of the Commission Relations Advisory Council shall be deemed members of the Human Relations Commission, all for the terms they were previously appointed for. That's all I got for this bill.
Thank you very much, Councilor Cleese. In reviewing the minutes of the last meeting that I was unfortunately absent from, there was noted that there's, I believe, 3 currently serving commissioners and 4 currently serving members of the advisory council of 13 possible. Having previously served on this body many years ago, I know that it's important to have a quorum for these things, and that can be challenging when There's so few members on each body, and combining this would seem to maximize the time and talents of our volunteer residents who serve on these, so I would be in support of it. Are there any additional council comments for the first reading this evening?
Council President, if I may.
Councilor Ahmed.
Thank you, and I also served on the Human Relations Committee on the Advisory Council, and I do believe that this would be a good move as it will bring continuity to the commission and also help with the quorum. I did just have one question that was brought up in the committee meeting on last Monday on the number of commissioners, and if we would be deciding that prior to the second reading.
Thank you. I hadn't received any additional information, but I'm going to check with Mayor Strachey on this.
No, I think that this is just for discussion, and that at the next reading, there would be a motion to amend to add a number in the ordinance that would specify the number of people.
Great.
Thank you, and that concludes my questions and comments.
Thank you very much. Additional council comments for the first reading this evening? Comments from the public? All right, hearing none, we will then move this. This will be on our next agenda for a vote. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda this evening is resolutions. We'll begin with Administration Resolution Number 28, 2024.
A resolution of the Council of the City of Lancaster approving the adoption of an amendment to the Act 537 Official Sewage Facilities Plan for the City of Lancaster. Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Councilor Craig.
Thank you, Council President. Let me do this first.
Thank you.
Because it's very important, even though we've heard it 99 times. The Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection requires that the municipality to adopt an official sewage facility plan, providing for the services adequate to prevent contamination and environmental health hazards with sewage waste, and to amend, when necessary, to assure there is adequate sewage disposal. So, Douglas presented at the committee meeting for this item and said this plan is for a 15-unit apartment building on Longfellow Drive, and land development plans for the project are now under review. Also, the city has capacity in its system to accommodate the project.
Thank you very much, Councilor Craig. Any additional council comments on the resolution? From the public? Hearing none, Mr. Harris.
Mr. Ahmed?
Aye.
Mr. Roy?
Aye.
Mr. Cleese?
Aye.
Ms. Craig?
Aye.
Ms. Diaz?
Aye.
Mr. Hirsch?
Aye.
President Baker?
Aye. Next item is Resolution Number 29, 2024. Mr. Harris.
A resolution of the Council of the City of Lancaster requesting a Community Conservation Partnership Program grant from the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources to be used for the Joe Jackson Top Lot.
Motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second. This is coming through Public Works. Councilor Hirsch.
Thank you, Council President. The only thing I really have to add, the amount of the grant is $250,000.
Thank you very much. Are there any council comments on the resolution? From the public? Hearing none, Mr. Harris.
Mr. Ahmed?
Aye.
Mr. Roy?
Aye.
Mr. Cleese?
Aye.
Ms. Craig?
Aye.
Ms. Diaz?
Aye.
Mr. Hirsch?
Aye.
President Baker?
Aye. Next is Resolution Number 31, 2024. Mr. Harris.
A resolution of the Council of the City of Lancaster approving the adoption of an amendment to the Act 537 Official Sewage Facilities Plan for the City of Lancaster.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. This is similar to Resolution Number 28. Councilor Craig.
It is very similar to 28, and the same Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection requires that the municipality to adopt an official sewage plan. facilities planning, providing for the services adequate to prevent contamination. We were presented this on last week, and I think the most interesting part about it was Ms. Bellick, and she's an architect from Thaddeus Stevens College. She was also accompanied by Tyler Poe, an architectural student. So that the college is working through its foundation, they construct the house each year to provide hands-on experience for the students. Hillside Avenue will be constructed in the fall of 2024. About 100 students will be involved in the process. The duplex will include 2 3-bedroom townhomes.
Thank you very much, Councilor Craig. Additional council comments on the resolution? From the public? Hearing none. Mr. Harris?
Mr. Mann? Aye. Mr. Arroyo?
Aye.
Mr. Cleese?
Aye.
Ms. Craig?
Aye.
Ms. Diaz?
Aye.
Mr. Hirsch?
Aye.
President Baker?
Aye. Thank you. That concludes our legislative agenda this evening and takes us to our second public comment period. This is open for comments about issues that were not on the agenda this evening. Again, duration of comments is limited to 3 minutes, and please begin with your name and block of residence when you begin. I do see that Mr. Govea has joined us, and he had requested to speak during the first public comment period, so I would invite him up to do so now. Mr. Govea, good evening.
John Govea, 100 block of East Orange Street, and I apologize for not being here when the meeting started. I just have to learn when you keep better track of these things. Two things. First, the recent incidents that occurred when the trans lady was having her reading at the library. But I commend the police for the way the evacuation of this area was handled, since I live right here, just a block away. I thought that part was handled very well. I do have some concerns, and maybe this has already been addressed, and I haven't seen it either on TV or in the newspaper. The original incident, I had walked down that morning and was told the street was closed, was because a suspicious package has been found by a bomb-sniffing dog, and the suspicious package turned out to be coloring books. Now, it's very possible that the coloring books came in contact with something I don't know. And that's just one of the things that I think we'd like to know, because coloring books triggering that kind of alarm in the neighborhood is just something that bothers me. The other thing, the traffic control in this downtown area in particular has been changed. The lights used to be, I guess you'd call them synchronous. You could, as long as you're following the speed limits, you can get from one end of town to the other without encountering too many red lights. Well, now it's like every block you have to make a stop. I myself, when I'm driving back into town from the west side, on most occasions, if I'm traveling up Chestnut Street, always have to stop at Charlotte, Mulberry, Prince. I can get past through Queen and then stop again at Duke. We need, since I'm a resident of the area, among other, I like to see the traffic moving smoothly. If for no other reason, then very frankly, I don't want to have all those auto exhaust fumes from the cars that are just sitting there block after block after block. I'm going to pull out the H card and say, as an 80-year-old who chooses to live downtown, I think that could be handled much better. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Govea. Is there anyone else who wishes to make public comment this evening? If so, please come on up to the podium. Going twice. Right. Hearing none, I will close the second public comment period this evening. Thank you very much. And I will move to the next item on the agenda, which is the report of the mayor. Mayor Sriracha.
Thank you, Council President. At the second council meeting in February, council received an extended shelter update from the Lancaster County Homelessness Coalition and Redevelopment Authority. Since then, the extended shelter beds at 232 North Prince Street have closed. Staff from the Lancaster County Food Hub worked with clients in advance to prepare them for that seasonal closure. And I was recently informed that only 5 individuals were released to the street while others were able to make some kind of arrangement, which I found to be encouraging and I thought I would share with all of you. As you know, there will be a gap in low-barrier shelter services between June and December when the remaining 40 beds will close on May 31st. In the report provided to Council by the Lancaster County Homelessness Coalition Redevelopment Authority in February, they laid out an interim plan which included expansion of intentional targeted street outreach and a need for additional financial resources. I'm pleased to report that thanks to the generosity of more than 10 donors, this effort has been fully funded and more. A request for a letter of interest for street staff expansion in the city was disseminated on April 2nd by the Lancaster County Redevelopment Authority and Lancaster County Homeless Coalition. It provides an opportunity to hire 2 full-time staff with the expectation that staff will work days as well as several evenings and weekend hours. Those are times that are currently not filled and have been identified as a gap in the outreach needs for our community. Additionally, because we exceeded our fundraising goal, there are also funds available for client financial assistance to support security deposits and first month's rent. Ostensibly, we are replenishing a fund that the redevelopment authority and the County Homelessness Coalition had, but exhausted before the end of their fiscal year. I want to publicly thank the Lancaster County Community Foundation and several donor-advised funds, Penn Medicine LGH, Zamias Properties, High Foundation, Steinman Foundation, Eklund Properties, Cargus, and Fulton Bank for responding to my call for help, literally. This really was untenable for there to be no interim plan while we had no shelter beds available. And I really appreciate all of these organizations responding to my request for assistance in helping to advance some strategy. And at the start of the conversations that I was having with folks, we didn't exactly know what we could do because there was still a lot of interest in finding a shelter space, new shelter space, as well as a provider that could cover that interim period. And that remains elusive. This is the best of Lancaster, this coming together to respond to continued needs. And I am grateful, and I just wanted to share that bit of good news with council. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor Sracci. That is good news. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the report of President of Council. I do not have a report this evening, so I will move for any council comments. Are there any council comments this evening?
Council President,
Council
I have one. On Saturday morning, March 30th, I joined neighbors and wonderful folks at Let's Go 123 at the Lancaster Cemetery for cleanup of various projects, including tree plantings, cleaning up beds, putting out mulch, picking up trash and litter. Wanted to give a quick shout out to the local partners that participated, including Northeast Neighbors United, City Alliance, Alliance with Chesapeake Bay, SDOL, Boy Scouts Troop 99, Commons Company, Rep. Mike Sterla, the City of Lancaster, and last but certainly not least, Kristen Thomas for her efforts in organizing this and keeping the Lancaster Cemetery a beautiful green space in our city. So thank you everybody who contributed to that and came out. There will be another cemetery cleanup in the fall. And I'll be sure to announce that here when a date is established for that.
Thank you very much, Councilor Hirsch. Those are great efforts. Any additional council comments this evening? Hearing none, have concluded our agenda. I will hear a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.